bone fixers for chronic back pain. Let's get into it. I guess it's best to start with a little bit of history. So, old Slavic and Turkic and Central or Eastern Asian cultures, maybe, they have various types of medicine men, I guess is a good way of describing it. They're like sort of the healers of their community. And one of these types of healers is what is probably best translated as a bone fixer, or maybe like a bone adjuster might be a good way of saying it. A bone fixer is usually a man. He's usually a burly, very super strong man. He's usually also like, I don't know exactly why, but I think they're usually like very kind. They're like super strong, but also they're like very gentle as well. They're usually like, they're kind of like built like big, and typically like you can see even in their arms, even in their fingers, they're like, you can sense like they have a lot of strength. Bone fixers today in the modern world, they typically have some day job, and it's often something related to like this type of healing. So maybe they're like actually physical therapists, or maybe they do massages, stuff of that nature. Bone fixers, well, they actually perform different types of, they provide help for people in many different ways. Usually like they get the name because they can kind of adjust like broken bones. That's probably what they do like the best, because this is like, as you may know, it's a really risky maneuver. It can be very painful for the patient. Even a lot of doctors and like people in Western medicine, they're sometimes like kind of hesitant to perform an action on these types of injuries. Bone fixers, they usually like don't really shy away that much from like high risk maneuvers that also can be like very healing in the long run. Probably the most interesting and honestly noble things about these types of healers is that they typically don't have like a price list. They don't exactly like charge you money. They're not like, oh, fixing a broken bone like $50, or fixing your bad back like $100. It doesn't quite work like that. So they like perform whatever action they perform. They do like the healing, and then like people give them whatever they think or feel is appropriate to give them, like a sum of money that's, at least in my experience, what I observed, money doesn't even like play that much of a role. Like you can give them some amount of money. I guess you can give them like no money at all, but that would be kind of like a really bad karmic mistake, I think. And some people like they give them fortunes, because they actually help them. They actually help people in many instances when Western medicine like completely gives up on those cases. And obviously like bone fixers operate like usually outside of the jurisdiction of Western medicine, of hospitals. They have developed like their skills and their sense like independently. Besides like having like a lot of physical strength and power, they also have a very keen sense of, I guess they have like a feeling of how the body and like the organs and the tissue is arranged in a way. I've even heard people say like these types of healers have a really strong empathy in a way. They can kind of feel other people's pain with their fingers, or through touch. And that's why they're kind of good at what they're doing. And in this regard, they're kind of similar to massage therapists. And in fact, like that's probably the closest archetype of healer, except that bone fixers are like incredibly strong. And also they're like they kind of have this knowledge on how to apply like pressure, how to apply like a lot of force, and even do like quick maneuvers that sometimes can be that can be risky. I guess you can think of them as kind of like a mix between a massage therapist, maybe a chiropractor, a physiotherapist, but also like a strongman. I guess you can think of them as kind of like a mix between maybe a physical therapist, a massage therapist, maybe a little bit of chiropractic there as well, but also like, a strongman, like a power lifter, and of course, like a little bit of the tribal shaman healer. And of course, these types of healers, they're usually not taken too seriously by Western medicine. But the most important thing about bone fixers is that they actually help people. They seem to be like pretty effective at what they're doing. And even more importantly, they often help like hopeless cases, like people who like Western medicine has given up on them. And so I kind of had always heard like tales of these folk healers. I heard a few rumors about some of them in like my general area. And when I hurt my back and I was complaining to anyone and everyone who would listen to me, which of course included my family, I found out that a relative of mine who had suffered like a really serious brain stroke, one entire side of his body was permanently like paralyzed, and he had like very minimal movement on the other side. And this relative of mine had been working with one of these types of like kind of like a bone fixer type of person. To the surprise of all of his doctors, like my relative saw massive improvements. Like he regained some movement, I believe, some function through many therapies and sessions. I think like this person really helped my relative. And this was like a shock to all of his doctors. Nobody could believe, like everybody had kind of given up on him. The naming, I guess, can be kind of misleading in a lot of cases. Bone fixers, they do a little bit more than just fixing bones. My relative's bone fixer didn't really like, crack his bones or something, but he actually in that case performed like really strong, intense, like I guess deep massages, and they were like, I think they were super painful. So because I complained to anyone and everyone, eventually I got recommended that I maybe should seek the help of this particular person, and that he may be able to help me because he had helped my relative quite a bit. So I went to my family member's home. The bone fixer was there. He was big, he was burly, he was kind, like all of the stereotypical behaviors of a typical bone fixer. And first he did a session on my relative, and I was in the other room, but I can hear like the muffled like pain sounds that my relative was making. He was like it was obviously like he was the bone fixer was really applying a lot of pressure in some points of the body that he believed would benefit my relative. And I kind of started getting prepared, like, oof, okay, this may hurt a little bit. My relative's session ended. The bone fixer went out for a smoke, came back and asked me like, are you ready? Should we do this? I was like, yeah, let's do it. And he asked me about my injury. He didn't really hesitate, but I think this was already like a few years after my initial injuries. So he was kind of comfortable performing the massages and like the manipulations. And since the moment the therapy started, like since the actual first instance, like this person's fingers touched my body, I knew this was like a different type of person. The moment the therapy started, the instance that this person's fingers like touched my back and my spine, I knew this was a different type of healer. And it's a little difficult to describe the experience completely, I believe. Imagine like feeling a really like strong jabbing pressure. It's like super intense. The kind of pressure that, kind of makes you kind of like tense up initially, and you're probably gonna make some sort of like some sound like that because you kind of have no choice. You kind of like clench your jaw, your entire body gets tensed up. But at the same time, you're kind of feeling like this person is only using like maybe 5% of his full power. It's kind of crazy. I honestly believe that this person could have like broken me into half like a twig if he desired to do that. I've been to countless like physiotherapists, massage therapists, chiropractors, even like everything of that sort. And this guy was something else. Like this was a different type of experience. I think he kind of knows a lot of maybe leverage points. He knows how to apply pressure in a really like kind of visceral way. Maybe you can even say like he kind of knows where the source of the pain is. I think that's kind of like a good way to describe it. And he just attacks that spot, and the pain, it kind of starts spreading. It becomes real. This is really painful. This really hurt. I guess you're supposed to relax. He didn't really give me that type of instruction, but based on other therapies, I tried to let go of the need to like be tense, and I tried to relax, but the pain is so intense that I think you actually like can't do that. It's really difficult to achieve that. But weirdly enough, like you don't actually feel unsafe. I didn't felt like any risk or danger pretty much the entire session. And what's even probably stranger, even though I felt like pain pretty much the entire time. I also, in a weird way, like didn't mind it so much. Maybe it was like I kind of felt relief when the session was over, but also I think it was kind of beneficial for me to simply know that I can feel even a lot more pain and like more focused pain than what I was already feeling like the entire time. So the session ended. The bone fixer said I will probably feel pretty bad for the next day or two. He was correct. I paid him some money that I think is comparable to what you would pay, like, I don't know, a massage therapist. I tried to be like generous. I honestly think it wouldn't have mattered no matter what sum I gave him. He completely showed any reaction towards the money, which I deeply respected, to be honest. Like, it's not like I would expect a person to do anything like this for free, but also like showing kind of this indifference to money, like that kind of impressed me. And this is really difficult to fake, I think. I think it was obvious that this person genuinely wanted to help people, and money was like secondary just so that, you know, he can live his life, like pay his bills. And so next week, my uncle also had another session scheduled. I went one more time to repeat the exact, like pretty much the identical thing happened. My reactions, like the therapy, was almost the same. And the funny thing is, to this day, I'm not exactly sure what to think of the whole experience. I didn't really go for more sessions. I think like he got kind of busy, and you know we kind of parted ways. I mean, he was primarily my relative's healer. I think he doesn't, these people don't want to work with a ton of people. They want to kind of focus on maybe difficult cases and provide them maybe relief over a longer period of time. I didn't continue working with this person. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what to think about the whole like experience, even to this day, because I obviously felt something during the therapies, but I didn't really feel lasting relief after like the sessions. I can't say like the therapies did anything harmful to me, even though in the middle of the sessions it was brutal. It hurts like hell. Maybe I kind of benefited from the experience a little when I think about it. As I mentioned, like the mere fact that I felt so much pain that was honestly like for the first time after a long time, it was like focused on maybe one point in my body instead of like kind of like, if you know, chronic pain can feel like it's kind of spread all around like your back. And it kind of felt kind of good, honestly. I mean, it felt really bad, but also kind of good. It was a mixed bag. Maybe a good way of putting it is by knowing that I can feel worse, I kind of felt better. So in conclusion, like did a bone fixer and bone fixing or whatever you want to call these therapies like worked for me? Not really. I cannot say they did. I wish I could. I wish I can be the guy who found like the magical, unexpected solution that nobody knows about and it heals like the world of chronic back pain. This wasn't it. I'm still like I'm happy I went through the experience. It was a positive experience, I think, but it didn't really do a lot to help me long term. If you get a chance to work with a bone fixer, should you go for it? Actually, on this one, I may advise caution. Like, I know I might like chicken out a little bit and take the route that doctors usually take, but maybe you will see benefits. I don't know. But based on what I experienced, I'm glad I did it, but I don't think it had, again, like lasting effects, which is why it's not something that I can personally recommend. That said, like I've met and I know a lot of people who swear by these types of healers, so maybe take that into account as well. Like, first of all, I think it's unlikely that you will even like encounter this type of healer, and if you do, like you're gonna have to make your own judgment call. Like, maybe you can talk to your doctor about this as well. Probably they're gonna be like skeptical, but maybe they will even give you like a green light. You're gonna have to make your own judgment call here. I went through with this. I'm kind of glad I did it, but again, like don't expect any real solutions here. And speaking of that, if you're looking for the actual solution, what actually worked for me, I have a ton of resources for you. A lot of them are free. So my free book, the link is in the description. You're gonna see what actually worked for me. Go check it out. There's no reason for you not to see that, completely free. Also, I have an app which also has a free tier. The app will help you with developing like the critical habits, instilling you with the required mindset needed to heal chronic back pain once and for all. Also, definitely check out the survey. This is like a really detailed survey on my website. You're gonna answer everything that's relevant for chronic back pain, and you're gonna get a plan that's specifically custom tailored, individually made just for you, just for your pain, your injury, and just for your situation. And honestly, if you're completely serious about this, if you want to finally give the final blow to chronic back pain once and for all, you should definitely check out the Back Pain Blueprint. This is my course on how to heal back pain once and for all. I think you're gonna find the detailed exercises, the methods, the plans, the techniques, the strategies. It's all very very deeply explained. You will see an approach that's highly effective. I can't say this is foolproof, but I think this is as close to foolproof as I can get you to. And of course, if you want to work with me personally, if you want me to be in your corner, on your team, schedule a free consultation call. We will talk about options and how we may be able to work together. My name is Matej from Real Deal Heal. Thanks for watching this video. Give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell if you found it valuable. And if you have a lot of back pain, I think you're going to learn a lot from my videos and my experience. Share these videos and share this channel with anyone else who struggles with back pain. You're going to be doing them a massive favor. They're going to love you for it. If you have any questions and comments, or even if you have like experience with these types of healers like bone fixers, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear about that. If you want to keep binging on these videos, a relevant video that's probably the next best step on your back pain healing journey will appear somewhere above me. Check it out. I will see you there. And until next time, my friends, be brave.